swear I just watched this yesterday. Just a broken person. I'm just a broken person, that's all.
It's been a long day. I haven't.
It has.
Yeah, I'm not typically like at the end of an 8-hour workday when we're recording like you are. So
Yeah.
you have more reason for your brain to be tired by the time we get around to doing this.
My job doesn't take a lot of brain power. I'm just kidding. It totally takes brain power. Anyway. Welcome to Stargatezing, a Stargate gazing podcast. I'm your host, Kathy.
And I'm your other host, Mary.
And each week we discuss an episode of Stargate, beginning with Stargate SG-1. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hot. How are you?
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm not too hot because our AC in here is pretty good.
That is
Although
good.
my office is my little closet does not get a whole lot of AC, so I'll probably be hot by the time we're done recording.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Kathy is melting. Oh no.
Yes. Oh my god.
It's a tragic name.
Ow.
Oh, Kathy gone forever.
Yep.
Show is mine alone.
Yay.
Sad. Oh. Apparently we have different opinions on the matter.
Okay, I'm gonna try not to die in here. Whew.
Yeah, don't die. That would be sad.
Yeah, agreed.
I'd be sad.
Although I did just eat a pile of McDonald's French fries, so I'm feeling pretty good with my last meal if I do die in here.
That's a good last meal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I approve. Yeah. I had some chocolate and I'm drinking some Honey Spot Road
Nice.
by Two Roads. I wouldn't really call it a meal, but that's the last thing I have consumed. Although I don't expect my death is as imminent as yours sounds.
Well, I've already melted, so, as soon as I evaporate, I'll be gone.
Right. That's tragic. I'll miss you.
Agreed. Oh, aw, I'll miss you.
Aw, thanks. How are you aside from being milty?
I'm fine. I had some homegrown tomatoes at work today that a coworker brought in, and they were amazing.
Delicious.
Yeah.
The best kind of tomatoes.
Yeah, they were so good, and I'm supposed to get some in my CSA this week, and I'm very excited about it.
That is exciting.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a busy week. And I've traveled many miles, but
Yes.
it's been tons of fun.
Yes, you're back now from
I
your
am back
travels.
now. Yay!
How was
Good
it?
times. Good time. It was great. I had a really good time. I went to like 6 different archaeological sites, I think it ended up being.
Awesome.
And I went to see some cool caverns. And I went for a hike at Big Bone Lake National Park. Who knew that was a thing?
Ooh. Why is it
So that was
named
weird.
that?
Big Bone because they found really big mammoth bones there, and
Oh,
Lick
okay.
because it's apparently there's a lot of salt in the mud there, so animals actually go there to use it the area as a salt lick,
Gotcha.
the ground. So yeah, it does actually have the name actually has a meaning, but unfortunately, it's got really different connotations now than the original meaning when it was first named. And yes, I did go there just because of the name. Because I had to.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I went to a meetup for the Astonishing Legends podcast, which was super fun, and the guys that do that show, Forrest and Scott over there, are super nice and let me fangirl over them a little bit and put up with me fawning over them, and yeah, it was good times, and
Nice.
they had interesting stories, and it was good times. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Very cool.
And then I came back. I drove 15 hours back, all in one day, so that I could go camping with my mom the next day. And then I saw some petroglyphs while we were up in Vermont, so that was also fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great.
Busy Mary.
Very busy.
I don't
that's
do
my story.
anything. Yeah. I just sit on my couch and hang out with Pepper, so.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I'm going to be starting back up at work soon, so
Yeah.
figured I'd take advantage of maybe one more excursion, one more long excursion before classes start again.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sleepy.
I am also sleepy.
Sorry, that's not interesting. I'm just telling you because
Yeah.
I'm like,
You know what else is happening on my first day of classes?
what? Oh,
We're talking to Ken Fader.
oh, that's that day.
Yes, we will be talking to Ken Fader for the podcast, and that will be coming out as an episode. I don't know when, but we'll be talking to him on the same day that my classes start. So it'll be a busy day and a fun day. I'm so excited.
Busy day
Yeah.
and fun. I agree. I like to repeat everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for anyone that doesn't know who he is, he's an archaeologist, and he happened to teach both Kathy and I in college, and it will be great. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
He's an interesting dude, so
To say the
Yeah.
least. Yes. Absolutely. So that will be great.
agreed.
Happy almost 1 year anniversary to us.
Yeah. Good for us.
Yeah, right? Good for us. Go us. We're awesome.
Whoa.
So with that, what are we talking about today in this podcast that we've been doing for almost a year now?
Today we are talking about Stargate SG-1 Season 2, Episode 12, The Tok'ra, Part 2.
Ooh.
Yes. We got a long previously on. Don't know if we need to put that in there, but
Nope. I just commented that there was one, and that's
yeah.
it.
Previously on the last episode, everything that happened on the last episode. And now the conclusion.
Yes. Is that it for your recap? My turn now?
Yeah, that's it. You got the rest of this. Sorry,
right.
I'm just... We pick up where basically we left off with the Tok'ra having told SG-1 and SG-3 that they're not going anywhere until the Tok'ra are ready to abandon their current base. So Daniel wants to find out why the Tok'ra have chosen not to do an alliance. That's a word.
I thought that this was funny because Garshaw comes in and says, "You wish to see me?" And Jack's like, "Daniel." And then Daniel asks why they didn't want to make an alliance. I'm like, why didn't Jack just ask himself instead of deferring to Daniel? I thought that was a weird choice.
Maybe
but...
because, like me, he was like, they already said the reason they wouldn't
Yeah.
do it. But
maybe Jack wasn't really on board with asking them again, and that's why he made Daniel speak up.
yeah. So Garshaw basically reiterates that the cost of an alliance would outweigh the benefits. It's not worth it to them to take the security risk involved in becoming involved with the Tauri. Daniel's like, give us time, we'll find something you must want or that will help. And Garshaw's like, that doesn't exist. So Jack's like, we are prisoners, which has been his theme throughout this whole thing.
Looks like Goa'uld to me.
Yes. Garshaw argues this is for their protection as well as theirs, because knowing what they know about the Tok'ra makes them a target of the Goa'uld, and Jack's like, we are already a target. Oops. Teal'c tells them again about how they took out 2 motherships, because we just like to repeat information as we know in this show.
Absolutely. If it's worth saying once, it's worth saying like 20 times, Kathy.
Exactly. If it's worth saying once, it's worth saying 20 times, Mary.
Yeah. Kathy, if it's worth saying once, it's worth saying 20 times.
Should we go through all 20 times?
Let's not.
Sam knows, though, that there's something else going on here, and Garshaw confirms this is true by telling them that none of them had volunteered to host Selmak, and that they are disgusted with the idea of blending, and therefore how can the Tok'ra trust them? And Daniel's like, no, we just don't get it. And Garshaw's like, host Selmak then. And Daniel's like, no thanks.
Yeah, she's got a really good point here with this.
She
I
does.
would be your friend if you find us disgusting.
Yeah, so she's like, no alliance, and then she flounces. And we go to credits.
Sure do. A bit later, we're in the room with the gluey water troughs in it. Everyone's still just waiting around. SG-1, SG-3 are there. There are Tok'ra guards at all the exits, and Sam goes up to make peace and asks how far along her father is, but he doesn't know. Sam is really upset that he's not even going to know why she's not there to be with him as he's dying. Jack promises that we're going to get you back there, and that the good news is that we've got 8 of us now, so we've got more manpower. And Teal'c asks, is this another one of your strange jokes? And Jack says, no, it's not a joke. So Teal'c points out that the only way that they could possibly get out would be through the rings and then also through hundreds of Tok'ra, and they really don't want to be hurting anybody, especially not that many of them, and Sam agrees emphatically that they really don't want to be hurting anyone just to escape. Jack tries to argue that they will hurt people if they need to in order to get back home. But Sam at this point seems to be kind of considering maybe becoming a host herself. She says that if she'd understood it before when she was hosting Jolinar, that it might not have been quite so scary and terrible, that she might have actually found it enlightening if she'd really gotten what was happening. So she gets up and all of a sudden calls for Garsha, who apparently has nothing else to be doing because she comes in immediately. I guess she was right outside. Martooth is with her. And Sam asks if the blending would be able to cure cancer, which they're not really sure what that is, so Daniel gives them a brief explanation of it. And Garsha's like, oh yeah, we cure that all the time. That's not a problem. So Sam asks Jack if she can offer this option to her dad. And he's fine with that. So they tell Garsha that they might have a possible host, but that they're going to need to go back to Earth to get him. And that he's very sick, but that they think that it's probably pretty likely that he's going to agree. So Garsha says that they can go back to Earth, but she's keeping everybody else there just to make sure that the 2 that she allows to go back to Earth will, in fact, come back.
And they don't. Show over.
Nope. That's it. Episode over. There's, yeah, that's it. Well, it's been fun, everybody.
Yep.
And, see ya.
Yeah. Or what happens is that Jack and Sam make it back to the SGC.
Oh.
Where they're greeted by Hammond, who's like, where's SG-3? And I only wanted Carter. And Jack's like, we need to talk.
No one wants you, Jack.
Exactly. Come on, Jack. You're such a smart mouth. Come on.
Hammond must like not being bossed around on his own base when Jack's not around.
It could be that's the reason.
Yeah.
They adjourn to the conference room so that they can lay out the argument for Sam's dad becoming a host. And Hammond's skeptical. He's skeptical in the way Jack was, where he's like, he's not really saving his life, but giving it up to a Goa'uld. And Sam's like, no, it's more like sharing it.
And again, she points out that it's the Tok'ra and not the Goa'uld that they'd be giving him to.
Yes. Hammond also has concerns about the fact that Jacob knows a lot about Earth and about the military. And that information could be, compromised in some way. Certainly Hammond's not trusting that this is a good deal anyway and that the Tok'ra are to be trusted, so he has concerns about letting Jacob go.
It was weird here that, once Sam points out that they're giving him over to the Tok'ra and not the Goa'uld, Jack's like, yeah, they're very different people. And, this whole time he's been accusing the Tok'ra of being just like the Goa'uld, and now all of a sudden he's on board.
Yeah.
With them being completely different societies. I thought that was a strange switch, that there didn't seem to be any particular reason for that, because literally 2 scenes ago he's like, sounds like the Goa'uld to me, but now all of a sudden he's like, no, they're very different.
Yeah. I actually was surprised how quickly he agreed with Sam that this was a thing they should do.
Right, yeah, I was too.
I'm like, okay. So Jack says he doesn't understand the difference between the Tok'ra and the Goa'uld, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
And Hammond's like, how do you know it's not a trick?
Hang on a sec, that's part of your trick, right?
No. That's not my trick, Michael. It's my illusion.
And Jack says if these were regular Goa'uld, they would already have forced them to become hosts. But Hammond's like, but you're prisoners. And Sam's like, oh, it's only temporary. It's to protect everyone, including us. And Jack's like, yeah, I didn't buy that either. Because Hammond looks skeptical. But
a lot of skeptical looks in this episode.
Sam It's almost
I wrote
begging. Pleads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam pleads with Hammond that she knows her father would want to do this and become the liaison between the humans and this important ally.
An honorable position, an honorable undertaking. Back out on the other planet in the desert, some random Tok'ra is running, and he is definitely not wearing pink tights, Kathy, as you said. You thought they were wearing last time. He for sure just had a long shirt, tall boots, and no pants. Just for the record.
You know, because we haven't worn pants in months.
And that was that scene.
Yes.
Back in the holding room, everybody is sitting around, including Garsha. She's decided to just hang out in the room with them this time instead of creeping outside the room this time. Teal'c approaches her and says that he wishes to take a moment to express his admiration for their cause. And he says that they are honorable and brave. And she thanks him and says that they feel the same way about Teal'c and the break that he made from Apophis. Martooth and 2 guards run in and say that they just heard from a scout, so I guess that was the pantsless guy we saw running through the desert before. And apparently the system lords know where they are, so that sucks. They've dispatched 2 motherships that will arrive within the day, or possibly within just a couple of hours, so Garsha is, of course, immediately alarmed by that and orders an evacuation, and people start running to prepare.
Run away!
Run away!
I really liked Teal'c's fanboying Garsha.
I did too. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
On Earth, Hammond and Sam have come to see Jacob in the hospital. Jacob's like, I told you not to recall her. And Sam's like, happy to see you too, Dad. You're awesome. Love my dad. They've decided to tell Jacob about what Carter does, even though it's classified, because Jacob now has clearance.
Congratulations.
Woo! And Sam says they need his help. And he coughs. I don't know why I put that in there, but I did.
Well, he tried to laugh and then starts coughing. Because he's like, I'm dying.
True.
How can I help you?
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want me to deliver a message to God?
Yes.
Actually, yes, that's what we do want, okay?
Please, thank you.
That's what we've been doing all this time, is hanging out with God.
Right. That's what we've really been doing in our top secret program. Using satellites to talk to God.
Yes.
Not exactly.
Well, I don't plan to see the other guy.
So they explain that Sam's satellite work is just a cover, and that...
What?
I know. Shock of shocks.
Jacob is for sure shocked by that news.
Yes, he is.
Oh, there's a big surprise! That's an incredible... I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise!
So she explains that she travels to other planets through the Stargate. And he's like, ha ha ha, yeah, right. And Hammond's like, no, it's totally true. And Jacob's like, you mean in simulations, right? And Hammond's like, no, it's real. So Sam explains they discovered this alien technology that allows them to do this. And he says, holy Hannah! And he wants to know what they need from him. So Sam's like, you need to come with us to another planet where we're going to cure your cancer. And he's like, cure? And Sam looks uncomfortably at Hammond as Jacob asks what the catch is. And Hammond's like, it's a doozy.
Sure is.
It is.
In the Earth Gate room, Sam, Jack, and Jacob all walk in. I thought it was very strange that they just got Jacob walking around without oxygen on anymore, because he literally looked like he was at death's door in the last scene. So you would think that at the very least they'd let him have a wheelchair and keep him on oxygen, but nope, apparently that's not the case.
He was probably too proud for that.
Yes, possibly so. So Sam and Jack are supporting him because he can't really walk on his own. And Jacob says, so this is the thing you were talking about that sends you to other planets, huh? The gate is dialing out. Jacob is very startled by the wave when it comes in, and then he's completely awestruck when it stabilizes into the event horizon. They walk up to the gate, and Jacob's a little bit apprehensive and says, what does it feel like? So he's a little bit nervous that it's going to hurt, but Sam tells him that he's handled worse before, and Jack says that it's a piece of cake. So they go through the gate. And Jacob's like, so you do that a lot, huh? He's doing surprisingly well still for somebody who is literally about to die. So I'm just going to chalk that up to adrenaline, which can do amazing things. And Sam says, yep, once or twice a week. Jacob says, well, that beats the hell out of a shuttle on the back of a rocket, like you'd be doing for NASA. And Jack points out that it goes way farther than any of the rockets could for NASA as well. They're kind of surprised that there's nobody around the gate to greet them. Jacob asks if they're sure that they're on another planet because he points out that this desert here looks an awful lot like Earth, but Sam explains that the people that have been using the gate system have a physiology that is very similar to humans, so pretty much everywhere that the gate system goes is a place that is hospitable to human life.
Cool.
Yeah. Convenient.
Yes.
Super convenient.
Yes.
Yep.
Almost as if it were scripted.
Almost like that.
Designed that way.
You mean this isn't a documentary?
No.
Or are we saying that there's intelligent design?
Well, they do talk to God, so...
It's true. Yep.
In the caves, the Tok'ra are scrambling and packing and rigging stuff out of there. And down come Jack and Jake and Sam. They encounter Makepeace. Makepeace says they're free and that the team is helping with their Tok'ra evacuation since, you know, they are trying to be allies. And see, there it is. Makepeace. There it is.
Good job, Makepeace,
Yes.
making peace.
Living up to his name. They didn't put him on SG-9, but he's still doing the job anyway.
That's right. Go you.
And Jack's like, what evacuation? What's going on? And Daniel ushers him along, so they start walking through the tunnels. Sam stops with Jacob to introduce him to Teal'c.
I thought this was so cute.
Yeah, yeah.
Teal'c just seems delighted to meet Sam's
I
dad.
know. Then they follow Daniel along to their gear that they had given up when they first arrived on the planet. They can see in the distance the tunnel is collapsing, or one of them anyway. Not in like an, oh shit, we need to move kind of way, but in a, we deliberately are collapsing this tunnel kind of way.
Kind of like the opposite of when they were expanding the wall out before. It's like a glowy wall that is just contracting in now instead of expanding out.
Yeah. So Daniel explains they're free to go because they're evacuating, which is what Makepeace said. And Teal'c explains the Goa'uld are coming. The Goa'uld are coming, the Goa'uld are coming. And then we get a quick flash of two ships traveling through space.
We do. I also wanted to mention that when Teal'c saw the walls collapsing in on itself, he said something, he was like standing there looking in awe and said something in a different language. And Daniel says, direct translation, very cool. That also amused me.
Yes, that was amusing as well.
After the scene of the two motherships traveling, we get a scene of a guy standing on a hill out in the desert.
Oh.
Ta-da! I suppose I'll keep going. Back down in the caves, Jack asks where Garshaw is. He and Teal'c go off to find her. Sam and Jacob make their way to Selmak's room, where Selmak is dying. Martooth is in there with a few other Tok'ra, and Sam introduces Jacob to all of them. Martooth tells Jacob that he has a very special daughter. And Jacob wants to know why he talks like that, because he's talking in resting hagfish voice. Sam explains that he's a Tok'ra, and that they are humans with alien symbiotes inside. And Jacob's like, so that's what you want me to become? You gotta be kidding me. You'd think that they would have maybe discussed this a bit more on Earth.
I think this whole thing was strange. I also think the way Sam talks to him through parts of this are really, like, annoyed child with a parent who actually has, like, memory problems. I don't know how to, like... Because she's like, oh, I told you about this.
Yeah, she's talking to him, like, kind of slowly and, like, he's mentally impaired in some way, but he's not.
Yeah. It was,
like, he's got cancer. He doesn't have Alzheimer's.
It was really weird.
It was weird.
Jack wants... Not with them. Elsewhere.
Yes.
Jack just shows up and is like, hey, I was here all along.
I was disguised as this Tok'ra. Now I'm here. Just hiding behind Selmak.
Elsewhere in the caves, Jack is asking Teal'c and Daniel how the Goa'uld found them, and he wonders if maybe it's a spy.
The old Maxwell Smart silhouette on the window shade trick. That's the second time Chaos has fallen for it this month.
And Daniel says, if so, that's not great, because then the Tok'ra can't really hide, because they're gonna keep having the spy. I don't know.
Yes. AKA, the spy would still be with them.
Yes. I seriously, I'm so sorry about my lack of ability to form coherent words that most people would understand, because I say them in a normal way instead of the way I keep saying things, in which I feel like I'm still saying it even as I'm trying to explain. Anyway.
Happens to me all the time when I'm teaching, especially, but unlike this podcast, I can't edit it to make myself sound better. So I'm like, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Students, yes. Am I at least somewhat coherent? And then they all laugh at me, and it's good times.
Aw, fun.
Yeah.
Jack asks Teal'c about the size of the communication orbs that we've encountered before, how small they come, and Teal'c says small enough to fit in your hand.
Operator, I'm calling from my shoe.
Uh-oh. That was that scene. I know.
Back in Selmac's room, Jacob is looking pensive and then tells Sam that he's not sure that he can do it, even though he's come all this way and apparently agreed to it before he left. Anyway, Martooth's symbiote, whose name I forget,
Lantash,
thank you, says that no one wants to pressure him into it, but suggests that maybe Jacob take a minute to meet the symbiote that he's hopefully going to be hosting soon. And Jacob's like, well, isn't that her? He says, gesturing to the body down on the table. Speaking of her talking to him in weird ways, she's like, nope, this is the human host. The symbiote is inside her. Yes, thank you, Sam.
So weird.
It was. So Selmac opens her eyes and speaks, and says that if Jacob agrees to the blending, they could be spending a very long time together. Jacob says, you don't look so good. And Selmac says, you're no vision of beauty yourself, sir. So, off to a great start. They both laugh at this, though, so they're both taking it in a lighthearted way, but since they're both really sick, they also then both start coughing after they laugh.
Great bonding moment.
At this point, Selmac's human host starts speaking and says that she is really the one that Jacob should be talking to. And Jacob asks why her voice just changed like that. Sarush says that it's because you're speaking to the human host now, and she introduces herself. And says that if Jacob agrees to this blending, he's going to be taking over her role. And Jacob admits that he's having trouble wrapping his head around this whole situation and says that he doesn't really understand what's happening. Sarush says that Selmac is a wonderful Tok'ra and that she's very caring and very good company and has a wonderful sense of humor. Sam's like, that's good, Dad. You can sit around and crack yourself up for hours. Sarush kind of looks at her side-eyed, and Jacob's like, yeah, very funny. But then Sarush says, well, she's really not far off. I've had almost 200 years of laughter thanks to Selmac. And she says that she's biased, but as far as she believes, Selmac is the most educated of all the Tok'ra, and says that Jake will be overwhelmed with all of the knowledge and wisdom that he would gain by taking on this new role. So Jacob clarifies that he's going to be not just getting the symbiote and not just getting healthier, but also getting all of the memories and everything. And Sarush says that that's true, but that in full disclosure, he'll also be getting some pretty terrible memories, like all of the various encounters with the Goa'uld and the loss of the previous host before her, and says that he'll also feel the hagfish mourning the loss of her. Jacob excuses himself for a second and goes off to be sick in the corner. So Sam comes up, and Jacob tells her that he didn't want his future soulmate to see him like that, which I thought was a little bit weird, because once they've blended, then the hagfish would remember that anyway.
That's true.
So Sam reminds him that he doesn't have to do this, but Jacob says, yeah, I really do, because my only other choice is death, and that's not happening. But he also says that he didn't just get sick because of nerves or hearing what she had to say. It was also the chemo and the trip through the gate. So he's made up his mind. He is going to go ahead with this.
Yeah.
And Sam says, yeah, it's, I get how weird this is. Trust me.
Meanwhile, the Tok'ra are continuing their evacuation. Jack, Daniel, and Teal'c go to see Garshaw. Jack tells her there might be a spy. And Garshaw is like, that's not possible. The Tok'ra are loyal for life. And so Teal'c's like, well, how did they find you? And she says, well, how did you find us? And Daniel's like, well, we kind of had a spy, because Teal'c says, yeah, right. Jolinar.
Yeah, good point, Daniel.
Yep.
One of the few good points that Daniel's made so far in this series.
So Garshaw asks for the name of the spy, and Jack's like, well, I don't want to name names, but you might want to look at Kordash, because he saw Kordash with one of those long-range visual communication orbs, which we find out from Garshaw that the Tok'ra do not use because they're not at all secure.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So when Jack confirms that Kordash has one, Garshaw immediately is like, Tok'ra, Kree! Yeah. And stalks off with other Tok'ra running after her.
Yeah, she's pissed.
Yeah. Jack follows and orders Daniel and Teal'c to stay behind.
Which was an odd choice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Daniel's like, I guess we stay here.
Yeah. Guess I'll walk home.
They find Kordash in one of the retracting hallways. Garshaw says that he has to come with them for questioning, but this person turns around and says that he is not actually Kordash any longer, and clearly feels awful about what's happening, and says he's not what he appears to be, and that he couldn't stop Kordash, and because of that, he's just as guilty as Kordash was. They flash over to Jack as this person formerly known as Kordash is talking, and Jack is kind of like pointing and gesturing with his hand and looking like he's trying to say something as the wall continues to get closer and closer to Kordash, formerly known as Kordash person. Garshaw asks him to explain himself, and he says, I don't deserve to remain among the Tok'ra any longer, and then he gets run over by the retracting wall and screams terribly. And Jack says, ouch.
Yikes.
Yes. Ouch indeed.
Yeah.
Usually people don't scream in agony if they're not in pain, so.
Only me, and that's because I'm a drama queen.
It's true. Can confirm.
Yeah. Elsewhere, Jacob and Sam rejoin Selmak in Selmak's room. And Jacob asks, what do I have to do? And Selmak says, well, if you're going to be my host, don't I get to decide if I like you? So Jacob's like, I'm a teddy bear.
Hi, I'm Snuggle.
Sam's like, yeah, teddy bear.
Snuggly softness that feels so good.
Selmak asks Jacob how he feels about the Goa'uld, and Jacob says that Selmak is the first one he's ever met, which is a little bit of a faux pas, because Selmak is like, I am not Goa'uld.
Yeah, she's not pleased.
And then Sam's like, I tried to explain the difference, Dad. That's not how she said it.
You're not far off from how she said it, though.
Jacob apologizes. He did not mean anything by it, but from what he's heard of the Goa'uld, who he just found out existed, he doesn't think he would like them very much. Selmak nods to Martooth to leave, and Martooth escorts Sam out of the room. Now that they're alone, Selmak asks Jacob, are you a good man? And Jacob's like, well, it doesn't really matter because you're dying, so unless you want to die, let's blend.
Quite the smooth talker.
Yeah. And then he says he's scared and let's get it over with.
Yeah. Yep, very persuasive argument.
Yes.
Good job, Jacob.
Well, it worked because Selmak's like, I like you.
Yeah. True.
I have decided I like you.
Super.
Selmak tells him, there is no turning back. I can't just hop in you and cure you and leave. That will probably kill us both. And Jacob asks after this is done, he'll still be able to talk to Sam. And Selmak is like, if she'll talk to you.
I thought she said the way Sarush talked to you.
Oh,
but I like your interpretation even better.
I wonder which it is. Maybe I just
could be either one.
I didn't have closed captioning on when I was watching this, and I didn't
my either, so you might have actually been right.
Yeah, well, I also had my AC blasting, and so I'm not sure how well I heard it. But
fair.
After we do this, will I still be able to talk to my daughter?
The way Sarush talked to you, yes.
Selmak warns that the blending may not work at all, and they might both die. Anyway, Jacob asks for a few minutes with Sam before they do this, and so he goes over to her. Lantash reminds them that they don't have a lot of time for this. Jacob tells Sam that he's never been good at this stuff, but he's proud of her, and he was even proud of her when he thought she was just some satellite geek. So they hug, and Jacob is like, I'm a pain in the ass, so maybe Selmak will smoothen some of these rough edges. Might be a good thing. Then they're like, all right, let's do this.
Let's do this!
Yeah!
Do it!
Out in some other hallway, Garshaw and Daniel and Jack are walking. Garshaw says that Kordesh must have been guilty of something, or else he would not have just allowed himself to be wallified, cavified, uncavified, whatever you would say his fate was.
I like all of those.
Thank you. So she thanks them and says that they must have saved a lot of Tok'ra in bringing this whole issue to their attention. But you still got nothing to offer us, so thanks for the offer of friendship, but no thanks. And Daniel says, well, of course we have stuff to offer you. We can offer you hosts. Because if it works with Sam's dad, then there's probably other people in similar situations that would be willing to volunteer, even if SG-1 themselves were not willing to. And so they all agree that it's worth considering.
I feel like Daniel's really grasping at straws here.
Yeah. Doesn't he frequently?
What is the likelihood that this will ever happen? I don't know. It seems like
are they just going to go into hospice wards of various hospitals and start asking for recruits? Like yeah, there probably would be people that would agree to it, but like you would have such a data leak issue.
Yeah.
What if someone doesn't agree and then like tells their whole family before they actually die? Then you got everybody finding out about the program. So
what if they're like, we have something that might cure you. We'll tell you about it, but if you don't agree to it, we're going to kill you right now.
Right. I guess that would be the only way they could really handle it. And
so
that
if
would
you
be
agree
awful.
to be killed right away after we tell you this thing, if you don't agree to it, let's do it. I don't know.
That seems rather sketchy. Probably not true volunteers if that were the case. Some people actually do make it out of hospice, not very often, but it does happen. Yeah. So, you know, some of them in there may still be hoping for a miraculous recovery.
Maybe. If I were dying, I might do it.
I probably would. Yeah. I think I would.
Yeah.
As long as my hagfish host never reminded me what they look like and also wasn't an asshole. I'm going to pretend that you are shaped like a teddy bear.
Hi, I'm Snuggle.
Hugging my brainstem.
Snuggly softness that feels so good.
And not a hagfish wrapped around my brainstem. Can we both agree to that? Okay, great.
Cool.
Come on in.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be okay.
Welcome.
But again, then you're conscripted into this fight. But might still be interesting.
Yeah.
Better than dying, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Where were we? Back in Selmak's room. Selmak and Jake are lying on their sides next to each other.
Jake.
Sorry.
Buddy Jake.
That's how that's how I differentiated them in my notes.
Fair.
Back in Selmak's room, Selmak and Jacob are lying next to one another face to face on their sides. Martooth is explaining that Tok'ra do not enter humans through the back of their neck because of the unseemly scar that results.
I was a little confused here because they've mentioned that they try to infiltrate the Goa'uld by blending in. So if they were hanging out on like a Goa'uld mothership, wouldn't somebody notice that they don't have a scar?
Maybe they only wear high neck clothing when they're amongst the Goa'uld.
Only turtlenecks.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fair. I'll go with that. Also, shouldn't they be able to heal that scar? Oh, I guess maybe they could heal the scar if they're using a sarcophagus, but not if they don't have
maybe.
one.
So maybe they don't actually have scars.
Maybe
Who knows?
Yeah.
The Goa'uld don't go in face first because they don't want to see the look of horror on their host's face, Martooth explains as well.
Fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Jacob says goodbye, and Sam says, see you soon. And Jacob asks Selmak, now what? And Sarush says, kiss me. And Jake's like, what? And Sarush says, no, really.
Serious.
Yeah. So they open their mouths and move in closer, and then we see the hagfish make the leap from Sarush into Jacob.
Yep, I hate it, but I'm glad they kept it brief.
Yeah. Sarush dies, and Jacob, now in hagfish voice, says goodbye and passes out. Martooth covers up Sarush. That doesn't matter, but
I made a note of it. It was a nice, respectful gesture.
Yeah. Martooth checks to make sure that Jacob is alive currently. He does say that Selmak is weak and reiterates that they may not make it. And Sam asks if there's anything she can do to help, and Martooth says no, they only need time. Then a guard comes in to let them know that the Goa'uld ships have arrived and will be here soon, and they need to destroy the complex. Sam wants to know if they can move Jacob, and Martooth's like, no, that'll kill him. For sure.
That's inconvenient.
Yeah.
Back out in the hallways, people are carrying around more crates, and Garshaw and the rest of SG-1 are walking. Jacob sees a woman walk by with a box that looks suspiciously similar to the one that was containing the orb that Kordesh had. So he goes after her, and she tries to run, but he manages to stop her. He apologizes as if he's wrong, but he takes the box from her and opens it and then hands it to Garshaw. And she says, oh, there's 2 spies. You would think that she would have figured this out before Jack does, but no, apparently Jack was the first one to figure it out, that Kordesh jumped to this new host. So it wasn't actually 2 different spies, it's just that the host switched.
Yeah.
The symbiote switched hosts. Apparently Tilk needed to explain that the symbiote can jump hosts. Shouldn't Garshaw know that? So she addresses the woman Kordesh, and the woman says that the plague, that is the Tok'ra, will soon be wiped out. And Garshaw says that she's sickened to think that she once called this hagfish friend, and that the system lords are going to fall, but that this hagfish will not be alive to see it. And so she orders the guards to remove Kordesh from the host without harming the host, and to put that traitor in a vanishing tunnel, which left me with so many questions.
Let's hear them.
So this person that was now hosting Kordesh, who is she? Like, did she have a symbiote of her own? Was she a Tok'ra? Or, like, if she wasn't a Tok'ra, then she was just a human, and why didn't she agree to take on Selmak?
So the woman I recognize as one of the people in the Tok'ra Council.
Okay.
But
I didn't recognize that.
And I assume, I didn't go back and double check that she spoke in hagfish. Maybe I assumed she had a hagfish, but I didn't go double check because I'm a horrible monster.
So then if she is part of the council and she's a Tok'ra, then what happened to her Tok'ra hagfish?
Great question.
Does, like, can somebody have 2 hagfish? Or does that automatically, like, does that kill them? Or do they have to battle it out for hagfish supremacy? Like, what happens if 2 hagfish enter a host?
I don't know, I'm having 2 flashes right now. One is My 2 Hagfish, which is like a play on My 2 Dads, where they need to learn to live together to take care of their one human host. And there's also an episode of the X-Files where they're up in the Arctic or something, and there's like little wormy looking parasites in the ice that like go in their heads, but you put them next to each other in a jar and they like fight each other to the death. So I'm having those two flashes at the same time.
So I just really wanted to know what happened to this person and her hagfish, but we don't find that out.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like an odd couple situation living inside of this host.
So many sitcom possibilities.
So many. So after this, Garshaw goes up to Jack and kisses him on both cheeks and says that she is proud to call him friend. So that seems to bode pretty well for the possibility of forming an alliance.
Woo.
Woo indeed.
Some smaller attack vessels leave a Goa'uld mothership.
Ominous music.
End of scene. In the tunnels, Sam's sitting with her dad, holding his hand. Garshaw comes in her human voice, whose host name I can't remember.
Yosef?
Yes, Yosef. Says to Martooth that all the tunnels are basically collapsed except for the one they're in and their evacuation tunnel. They've got to get out of there now. And Sam's like, what about my dad? So Yusuf says that Selmak will know how to find them when he wakes up. Daniel's like, but he'll be captured. And sorry, I put her in there since I couldn't remember her name. I put her in there as Guman, Ghuman.
Nice. That also works. I'll allow it.
So she says that Selmak will die before revealing their whereabouts. Jack offers to take them back with the Tokra'ville back to Earth. And Martooth's like, no, he can't be moved until he's fixed or he's gonna die.
If only they had backboards. Take that, Tok'ra. We've got technology you don't have. So there. Suck it.
Yeah. Time to form an alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's our backboards. Now give us everything else.
Martooth offers to stay with Selmak and will then they'll get out, or the tunnels will take them before the Goa'uld can get to them. So basically he's gonna hang out and they're either going to live or die. Yeah,
pretty much.
Garshaw's like, I can't let you guys die like that. And Sam then volunteers to stay, and Garshaw's like, no, because you are vulnerable because of your Jolinar head.
Yep.
Yeah. Jack also tells her she needs to leave, and Sam's like, no, I'm not leaving my father here. And then Martooth's like, we'll both stay, and for some reason that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know why that's more acceptable than either one or the other of them staying. I didn't get that either.
But Garshaw and Jack both acquiesce to this.
They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. All right, cool.
Yeah. So they all head out of there, leaving Sam and Martooth with Jacob and Selmak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Out on the planet's surface, SG-3 and Garshaw are running for the gate. She says that they don't have a lot of time before the Goa'uld will dial in, and Daniel suggests that they take Garshaw to Earth because it'll save a little bit of time since the Goa'uld could be dialing in at any second now. Jack orders Daniel to dial out, but he says, well, shouldn't we wait for Carter? Haven't they already established they're not waiting for Carter, Daniel? Meanwhile, Teal'c is looking up with a bit of horror on his face and points out that there's a whole bunch of death gliders heading there now. So Jack says, dial! And Daniel does, in fact, run over and starts dialing out. As the gliders approach, the gate opens and the gliders start firing, but everybody makes it through the gate and we get another weird, hard, awkward transition into the next scene, like we mentioned in the last episode with the weird, hard transitions.
Yeah. Did you notice Teal'c kind of raised his zat towards the ships like that was going to do anything?
Oh, no, I missed that part. Yeah, what is is that gonna do?
Nothing.
There's so many of them,
Yeah.
and they're big.
They're so big.
I missed that. Good times.
Yeah. In the caves, Sam and Martooth can hear the sounds above them, muffled, of course, of the firing weapons of the Goa'uld, which is another awkward sentence I just said.
Explosions,
Yeah.
you mean?
Yes. Well, I meant they're firing on them, not like, yeah. Anyway. Sam's like, I hope I did the right thing. Martooth's like, we didn't have any other choice. End of scene.
Yeah. Back in the Earth Gate room, we are looking at the gate and the iris is closed. The alarm is sounding. SG-3, Hammond and Garshaw and a whole bunch of guards are all standing around and waiting. Hammond asks Garshaw if her people can defend against a Goa'uld attack, and she's like, not so much. Daniel asks what Martooth will do if the Goa'uld get too close, and she says that he'll destroy the tunnels along with himself and Sam and Jacob and Selmak.
Way to leave them there. Great
Yeah.
job.
If only you had backboards.
I know. In the tunnels, Jacob awakens.
Yay!
And Sam's like, Dad? But no, it's Selmak. And he says, Martooth, we gotta get out of here. Sam's like, where's my dad? But then Jacob is there and says, he's there. Talk about a hangover. So much stuff in my head. Whoa.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
And he gets up and he is overjoyed to find out his arthritis has also been cured. Holy Hannah, he says.
Holy Hannah.
Holy Hannah.
Holy Hannah.
So then they get up and get the hell out of there. They run through the collapsing tunnels towards the rings and whoosh out just as they finish collapsing.
Zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the Earth Gate room, the tech that is up in the control room tells everybody that there's still no signal from SG-1. Back on the planet, the rings come up. Zoo. Martooth says the Goa'uld are dialing in, but Sam says not if we dial out first. And she says that she's going to take them to Earth and that he can go wherever he needs to go from there. She starts dialing and the gate opens, but they're not really sure who actually managed to finish dialing first. But Jacob points out they really don't have a choice, so they're going to have to try to go through regardless. Sam dials in the iris code, we flash for Earth, and do get a confirmation that they have just received SG-1's signal. Hammond tells them to open the iris. Death gliders come up and fire on everybody outside of the gate back on the other planet, and Martooth, Jacob, and Sam dive into the event horizon. Just in time.
Whew.
Yeah. Whew.
Yes. They land in the gate room on Earth.
I appreciate that, as always, the gate stayed open for just the right amount of time.
Just the right amount of time. It's
as though it
pretty
knew how
great.
many people were going to be going through.
Yeah. Selmak walks up to Hammond and thanks him for saving their lives. Hammond asks to speak with Jacob, please. And then Jacob is back. And he asks, does he sound like the Tok'ra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, when the little fella inside me is talking, do I sound like her? Kind of gesturing.
Teal confirms, yes, he does sound like that. And Jacob says he can feel himself talking, but he's not saying the words. He also says, yeah. He says he feels good.
Yeah.
He says, listen, George, to his buddy Hammond. Because of this blending thing, I already know everything about the Tok'ra, and you made the right call. Hammond's
Good job.
yeah, hope so. Hammond asks them to do a debriefing before the Tok'ra leave, and Garshaw is like, nah, we gotta go.
Thanks, bye.
Yeah. Teal'c assures them they're safe here, and Garshaw is like, well, the spy means that we need to move again because the spy knew where we were going, so we gotta go so that we know where they're gonna go. It's a whole thing.
It is.
Yeah. Martooth is concerned they need to stop the tunnels growing because apparently it's a pain to collapse them all. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I think it's just they don't want to be wasting the time building new tunnels when they have to collapse them and get to a new planet as soon as possible anyway.
Why do they have to collapse them?
My impression is that they don't want the Goa'uld knowing anything about the technology that they have, including their tunnel-making ability or any other remnants that might get accidentally left behind.
Fair. Garshaw asks about their dialing device, and Jack says they slapped one together. And she finds this impressive and would like to see it because she would like to put in the coordinates herself. So Hammond takes her up to do that. Martooth, meanwhile, promises to watch over Jacob for Sam. And then we have Jacob and Sam saying goodbye again. Say goodbye a lot in this episode.
They do.
Yeah.
But at least this time it's just because he's leaving and not because he's potentially dying.
That's true. So he says it is ironic that he was trying to find her a better assignment and he didn't need it, and then she found him the best assignment a soldier could dream of. Thanks, kid. And she's like, do you have to go so soon? And he's like, yep, I'm the oldest and the wisest. They need me. The gate opens. Garshaw says to Jack that hopefully there will be a time when they destroy the system lords together. Something to that effect.
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel then comes and gives her one of the special boxes that they handed out to the Sumerians. That's like their means of getting in touch with them by, I don't know, hurling it through the Stargate and destroying it with the iridium.
The iridium hurling box.
Yes.
Is it a different one or is it the same one? Because the Sumerians returned theirs.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. So then okay, if they returned it, then how did the signature end up on the... How were they able to detect the iridium? I'm confused.
Oh, right. I thought that they did. Yeah, it should have vaporized then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought that they got it back somehow, though.
I don't remember. Well, anyway, they get one of these boxes, and again, they're like, oh, we'll totally know it's you, because there's, who else would give you iridium to throw at our gate?
Where else would you find it other than, like, tons of asteroids and, like, all over the place in the universe?
Jacob and Sam do one final hug. Jacob then says that Selmak says, don't call us, we'll call you. Jack smiles and nods, and the Tok'ra leave. That's it.
That is it. Yeah. Yes. That.
Yeah.
Kathy, did you like the episode?
I am going to take the two of them together, Tok'ra parts 1 and 2, and actually say I think I do like these episodes.
Excellent.
Yeah. I especially, and this is a me thing, after I watched them the way we do for the show, I actually watched the two of them back to back without, just for entertainment.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And that made them a lot better because
I would imagine.
I think I get like, they're still talking. I still have to write stuff about what they're talking about.
Type so much. Yeah.
Okay. So I watched the two of them back to back a second time, and I think I really enjoyed like the flow of it, and I think we got a lot of interesting new characters that hopefully I assume we'll see again, many of them, especially now that like Sam's dad's in the mix with this. It was a little weird, like are Sam and her father's issues all now fixed? Yay?
Maybe.
But yeah, overall, I think it was an interesting episode and good for like continued storytelling. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a one-off thing. Like, this is a part of the lore of the show almost.
Storyline rather than like a bottle episode.
Yeah.
Plot episode, if you will. Yeah. Plot advancing episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, I liked it. Some
Nice.
weird things.
Yeah.
Like Sam being weird about her dad. I don't know.
Fair. Yeah.
How about you?
I did like the episode. As I mentioned last time, decided to take them separately, and I did say that even with the to be continuedness of the last episode, I enjoyed it, and I liked this one just as much, probably even a little bit better, since we did get a conclusion from it.
Woo!
I thought it was exciting, and I do like all the characters, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Jacob when like they first introduced him. I like him much better now. I think he's kind of cantankerous and a jerk when they introduce him, but he becomes more likable as his story arc progresses. I liked Sarush, is that her name?
The human part of
Yeah, the
Selmak?
human
Yes.
Yeah. I liked Sarush and Selmak and that person as a character, so it's too bad we can't see more of that character combination. But I guess at least we'll still we kind of get a preview of what the writing for Selmak might be like in seeing how Selmak acted in that other host. So that should be interesting. I like it also because it reminded me of Star Trek and the Trill. So anything that reminds me of Star Trek makes me happy.
Oh yeah, the Trill.
Yeah, so I thought it was a fun episode overall, and I enjoyed it very much. And as I said, I liked this one probably even a little bit more than the last one, but I liked them both.
Awesome.
Yes. What are we watching next? Can we stay on this streak of good episodes? Hopefully.
I don't know. I don't know.
Please tell me yes.
The next episode that we are watching is Stargate SG-1 Season 2, Episode 13, Spirits.
Like ghosts or alcohol? I guess we'll find out.
That's a good question. Let me see if the description gives us any clue. After the team discovers the element trinium on the planet PXY-887, its inhabitants fire a trinium arrow through the Stargate, wounding O'Neill. That's from Netflix.
I have no recollection of this episode.
Yeah, I'm trying to, remember. And not Season 4. What are you doing? Booklet.
Stupid booklet.
Let's see what the booklet says. Just, Let's see. SG-11 vanishes while negotiating the mining rights of a valuable mineral on a planet inhabited by a tribe known as the Salish, or Salish. Can SG-1 find their lost colleagues without angering the planet's mystical spirits, or will they become the spirits' next victims? One of those sounds better than the other.
Yes. It also sounds like it could be really problematic. I guess we'll find out.
Yes. That's what I mean.
Problematic in the way of, what was that other episode?
Oh, God, which one?
The Mongol episode.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. What the fuck was that called? Oh, pardon my language.
Yeah, we never swear on this show.
Oh, my God. I can only remember the TNG episode.
I know, I can only remember Code of Honor.
Oh.
The Code of Honor equivalent. It could be problematic in that way.
Emancipation.
Yes. Yeah. It could be problematic, similar to Emancipation.
I emancipated that knowledge from my mind.
Good job.
Thanks.
So proud. Anything else to talk about?
I don't think so. It's real hot.
Yeah. My closet has gotten hot.
I'm going to go into my air-conditioned living room that's been blasting that probably none of my cats have been enjoying, but I will enjoy.
Yeah, and I got to go finish saving the Galaxy because I am almost done with Mass Effect 3.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I might crack a Kenny book tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, do it. I actually have another one that I'm planning on reading as well. All right. Well, as always, thank you for listening. Make sure that you subscribe to us on your podcatcher of choice so that you'll get all of our episodes as soon as they are released every Monday. You can also find us on YouTube. Reviews and likes are greatly appreciated because they help others find the podcast too. And word of mouth is also great since that can help more people find out about the show. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can reach us at stargatezing@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram where we are Stargatezing at both of those. And if you're feeling generous and want to help support the show financially, you can find our Patreon page at patreon.com/stargatezing. You get advanced access to episodes and special bonus episodes, as well as some behind-the-scenes blog entries over there. And you can check out our website at stargatezing.space, where you can leave us a review or a voicemail or send us messages. I'm Mary.
I'm Kathy.
And you've been listening to Stargatezing, the end.
The end.
Back in Selmak's room, Jacob? Jacob, okay,
yes.
Hang on.
Stupid J's.
Yes, I know, I hate that. I know normally I was trying to abbreviate it JAC, but still a few times I apparently didn't do it right.
Jack and JAC is the same for both of them.
You're right. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, you're totally right.